Alright, so you want to start an aquarium from scratch. I'm talking about beginners now. You've got to understand the nitrogen cycle, the ammonia cycle, everything else, right? Okay? You can't just put a bunch of fish in the tanks like I do without cycling. Okay, what is cycling? Let's go ahead. I keep this pinned up here, okay? The aquarium nitrogen cycle. You got to start from the beginning, okay? Fish waste turns into ammonia. Then from there, beneficial bacteria converts to nitrite, okay? And then we get them to convert from nitrite to nitrate, and then it's removed by water changes. Okay? That's simple. Not really hard to understand. So, how do we do this? Well, right here. This is Ace Ammonia hardware. It's 10%. Okay? And it's from Ace. Now, I don't know where else you can get it from. You do not want sulficates in your stuff. It's got to be pure ammonia. How do you know it's pure ammonia? Watch this. Please let the bottle be on here. You shake it up. Alright, I shaked it up. You notice there's nothing foaming at the top, right? Nothing foaming. Maybe there was a couple, bubbles. But you got to make sure there is nothing foaming whatsoever. This is the best stuff, period. You can probably get some more. What else do you got to have? You've got to have an API freshwater test kit. Now, if you're dealing with saltwater people, I can't help you. I'm just going by what I know, okay? You've got to have a test kit. You got to be able to test for nitrites, nitrates, there. You got to be able to test for ammonia. Test strips are not going to really cut it, okay? If we're trying to do a fishless cycle, which is the most humane way of doing it. And before I go much further, I would beg, borrow, steal any fish media from another fish keeper, substrate, rocks, anything they've had in their tanks for a while. Plants, probably won't help a whole lot. And the next thing you'll need is a syringe or syringes. Okay? You notice this 3 milliliters down to nothing. I have a lot of smaller syringes that'll work just fine. Alright. Let's get back to this fish tank. Now, I have ways to see this fish tank. Obviously, I have many tanks. Buried in one of those tanks is a filter or two, and I've got them, okay? So we're not too worried about that for me, but beginning fish keepers, if you think you're going to take a tank like this, and I'm going to film this throughout the process of how I set it up, and throw 20 fish in there, I'm sorry. That's a recipe for disaster. That's why people quit the fish business. You know, they get one tank or two, and they throw everything in there under the kitchen sun, and it doesn't work. This lid is going to go, I've got a glass lid that's going to go on there. So anyway, I'll continue this and tell you how to do the ammonia cycle fishless. And I can't stress this enough. I cannot stand when people take quote-unquote cheap fish, whether it's feeder guppies, whether it's Danios, whether it's whatever, and just stick them in the tanks and expect them to survive because they poison the water. It's just a bad way to go. So anyway, I'll get back with you with part 2 shortly. Apparently the air is kicking on today. It's been a little warm. But I'll get back with you. Alright, well here's the ammonia calculator. I know this is a horrible way of doing this. But anyway, I plugged in, we know the ammonia concentration on the Ace hardware is 10%. We know our aquarium value is 20. But again, I'm doing a 10-gallon tank. So, what you have to realize, the resulting result is 3 milliliters for a 20 gallon, okay? Now, if you're doing a 10 gallon, it's 1.5 milliliters. And our desired ammonia level is about 4. I've heard people say 3, I've heard people say 5, okay? So, basically, the whole premise of this is, you want to dose your aquarium, let it go for 4, 5, 6, 7 days, okay? What we're trying to do is get the ammonia down to about 1 part, okay? And I'll be right back with that. Alright, and during the cycle, go ahead and add everything you're going to add. Go ahead and put your sponge in there, okay? Your airline. Go ahead and put in whatever substrate you're going to use, whether it's sand, whether it's Eco-Complete, whether it's whatever. Put your plants in there. They'll all be fine. Plants don't care. Just put there everything but the fish. But the whole goal of this is you're going to keep your ammonia up. And it's going to take several weeks, okay? Just measure your ammonia every day. And once it falls to about 1 part per million, instead of the 4 parts per million, that you had, then dose it back up again. You want to keep it about 4 parts per million. The whole goal is after about 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to have a huge spike in nitrites. That's no big deal. And then eventually it's going to convert them to nitrates. I think I got that right. I don't have that backwards, do I? I don't think so. But and again, you've got to have a test kit, a legit test kit, okay? Now, you're not even going to test for anything outside of probably ammonia for a while, okay? That's all you're going to do. And what will happen eventually, okay, is your nitrates will go off the roof and then die, okay? And your ammonia will die. And then when you get a bunch of nitrate, about the 3rd or 4th week, a massive water change will have to occur. Probably 80% or more. And then you have to keep testing for it. So here's the whole goal. You want to get your ammonia to disappear from about 3 to 4 parts per million down to in under 24 hours, preferably 12 hours, where it goes from 3 to 0, or as close to 0 as you can get. So I hope that helped y'all out and kind of understand the fishless cycle. It is a long process, and I know if you got little Timmy, in the back room, and he wants something like this, no, it's not going to happen, man. Okay? I have never once, done a cycle that I use fish in. Okay? It just takes a long time. Okay? But that's what you got to do, people. Eventually you get a successful fish tank. And this is what turns off fish keepers more and more. I went out and I just set up an aquarium, and 2 days later I threw in 70 fish and they all died, and I'm out of this hobby. Well, that's your own fault. I hate to say it, but you've got to learn the fish cycle. So if you got any questions at all, please ding below. And if I didn't make enough sense, just research the freaking cycles, okay? Research the cycles. All right, laters.